A young programmer named David was almost fired for a single word: indecisive. His superiors couldn't understand why he took 2 weeks just to start a critical project. They saw procrastination. They saw incompetence. But what they didn't know was that inside David's mind, he wasn't hesitating. He was seeing 10 different futures at once. He saw every potential bug, every risk, every optimal path that others had overlooked. His hesitation wasn't weakness. It was the burden of foresight. David's story is just one of 8 silent struggles that deeply intelligent people often face. The flaws that society often judges can be the undeniable signs of a superior intellect. This video isn't here to flatter your ego. It's a mirror, and more importantly, it's a map. First, we'll dive deep into the psychological roots to understand why intelligence often comes with loneliness. Then, we will decode these 8 specific struggles in detail. And for each struggle, I will give you a sharp thinking tool from Stoic philosophy to turn that burden into strength. Stay until the end, because number 8 could completely change how you see yourself. So, where does this silent struggle begin? Why is intelligence, supposedly a gift, so often paired with a sense of isolation and immense pressure? The answer doesn't lie in your flaws. It lies in a fundamental, unavoidable conflict, a structural truth. Your struggle didn't start yesterday. It began with the very architecture of your mind. A deeply intelligent brain doesn't just process information. It craves patterns. It looks at a leaf and sees not just green, but the hidden Fibonacci sequence within. It listens to a symphony and hears not just a melody, but the complex harmonic structure that supports the entire piece. Your brain, by its nature, is designed to seek depth and the truth beneath the surface. Meanwhile, the world around us, our society, operates on a completely different principle: simplification. Small talk about the weather, unspoken social rules, unwritten expectations. None of these are designed to find truth. They are designed to reduce complexity, to keep the massive social machine running smoothly. And this conflict is inevitable. It's like trying to play a complex game of chess on a simple checkerboard. You are not wrong. The board is not wrong. You are simply playing 2 different games. Imagine a young girl named Maya in her 3rd grade math class. The entire class is chanting the multiplication tables. Suddenly, she raises her hand. She doesn't ask about the problem on the board. She asks, "Teacher, if there are infinite numbers, are there different kinds of infinity?" The class falls silent. The teacher, with an almost imperceptible sigh, just says, "Maya, please focus on the lesson." A few giggles ripple from the back of the room. An invisible label has just been placed on her, the weird one. But Maya wasn't wrong. Her question touches upon the foundations of set theory, which the mathematician Georg Cantor spent a lifetime proving. The problem was, it was the right question, asked in the wrong place. And the struggle of the deeply intelligent often begins just like that. So, what do you do when you're a chess player in a world of checkers? The Stoics don't choose a side. They don't fight society, nor do they abandon their own nature. They practice a core principle: live in accordance with nature. But nature here isn't about trees and rivers. The Stoics defined it as our rational nature. To live in accordance with your nature means accepting that your brain craves truth and depth. And to live in accordance with society's nature means understanding its need for simplicity. Wisdom isn't about abandoning one for the other. It's about learning to navigate between both. That is the art of living for a Stoic. And now, we will begin to explore the first tools to master that art. The first and perhaps most common struggle is when your silence is misunderstood. You're at a party, surrounded by music and lively chatter. You don't join the discussion about a celebrity, nor do you have an opinion on the latest hit show. And then the invisible labels begin to appear. Arrogant, unapproachable, or worse, boring. Because in a world of noise, your silence is often interpreted as judgment. Others think you're silently criticizing them for being superficial. Imagine Anna, a data analyst. She stands alone by the window watching the crowd. Around her, people are talking about an upcoming vacation, about some online drama. But in Anna's mind, another universe is at work. She's busy rearranging a complex data model, an idea that could change her entire project. She doesn't look down on them. She's simply operating on a different frequency. The Stoic solution for Anna and for you lies in redefining your assets. For them, money or fame isn't the most valuable asset. It is attention. The philosopher Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a great deal of it." Every small talk conversation, every pointless debate is a losing investment of your most finite and precious asset. Your silence isn't arrogance. It's the action of a wise asset manager. You don't disdain them. You're simply protecting your capital for more important ventures, reflection, learning, and truly deep conversations. But if the external struggle is about attention, the internal battle is far more intense. It's the battle with indecision. You delay making a choice. You deliberate for too long. Your colleagues and superiors see you as someone who lacks conviction, who fears responsibility. Your hesitation is misunderstood as incompetence or laziness. Let's return to David, our programmer. His stress didn't come from not knowing what to write, but from knowing too many things he could write. He saw 10 paths, and he was paralyzed by the prospect of choosing the wrong one. This paralysis comes from a fatal error, applying reason incorrectly to things outside of your control. The Stoics use their sharpest tool for this, the dichotomy of control. Let's do a simple exercise. Take a piece of paper and draw a line down the middle. On the left, write what I can control. On the right, what I cannot control. For David's project, the left column is the quality of the first line of code I write, my attitude of learning when I encounter a bug. The right column is my boss's reaction, how the market will change, whether the client will love the final product. Now imagine tearing off the right side of the paper. Burn it. Freedom lies in focusing your entire energy on the left column. That is the Stoics' cheat code to escape paralysis and take action. And once you begin to act, another struggle emerges, connecting with others. You're told you have a low EQ. You offer a logical solution when someone just needs comfort. You're seen as cold, unfeeling. Many people think a low EQ is a permanent flaw, that you're either a warm person or a rational person. The Stoics reject this division. They see emotional intelligence as a trainable skill. The tool here is the surgeon's mindset. A great surgeon doesn't cry with the patient on the operating table. If she did, her hands would tremble and she couldn't save them. Instead, she uses all her reason and composure to understand the problem and deliver the best solution. That is the highest form of care. Similarly, when facing the emotions of others, a Stoic doesn't try to feel exactly what they feel. They use reason to understand the need behind the emotion. Does this friend need empathy or a solution? Is this colleague angry about the work or because they feel disrespected? This is the emotional intelligence of a Stoic. Understanding based on reason, leading to useful action. These thinking tools sound powerful, and they are. But there is always a gap between theory and practice. Making these tools a second nature requires training, and on that path, you will face your final challenges. First, there's loneliness. You're seen as a lone wolf, hard to befriend, preferring to be alone. But your loneliness might not be a deficit. It might be a high standard. Stoics don't seek friends, they seek companions in virtue. To do this, practice the concentric circles of Heracles. Imagine circles with you at the center. The next circle is your family, then friends, colleagues, countrymen, and finally, all of humanity. Your exercise isn't to find new people, but to actively pull someone from an outer circle into a closer one each day. Send a text to an old friend you haven't spoken to in years. Truly listen to a colleague without judgment. This transforms making friends from a social need into a deliberate moral practice. The next challenge comes from your own restless mind. You can't sit still, always exploring new things, never focusing on one thing for long, and easily getting bored. This craving is a powerful energy. If undirected, it creates chaos. If directed, it creates wisdom. The tool to direct it is the evening journal. This isn't an ordinary diary. Every night before sleep, answer 3 questions from Epictetus. 1. What did I do wrong today? 2. What did I do right? And 3. What duty was left undone? This is a weightlifting exercise for the mind. It turns vague energy into structured self-reflection, transforming boredom into a path of daily improvement. And finally, the greatest struggle, the pressure to succeed and the fear of failure. You're a perfectionist, a workaholic. You never know when to rest. The fear of failure is often greater than failure itself. To disarm this fear, the Stoics don't run. They confront it with a technique called Premeditatio Malorum, the premeditation of evils. Take 5 minutes. Imagine the worst-case scenario for the project you're working on. You get fired, your friends mock you, you run out of money, truly feel it. Then ask yourself, and then what? What will I do next? You will realize that even in the worst-case scenario, you can endure. You can start again. This technique doesn't make you a pessimist. It vaccinates your mind against fear, freeing you to act with courage and liberty. These tools are not magic spells. There will be days you fail, days you forget to journal, you still get drawn into small talk, you still let fear win. Even the Emperor Marcus Aurelius had to write to himself every single day to remember these principles. Wisdom is not a state. It is a process of constant practice. And that is the final and most important truth. After hearing all of this, you might be feeling special, that your intelligence is a gift. But here's the final twist, the 8th truth that a Stoic would tell you. You are not intelligent. All 7 struggles we've just walked through are not proof that you are smarter than others. They are only proof that you have the potential to become wise. Intelligence without virtue is just a dangerous tool. It's like a sharp sword in the hands of a child. It can harm itself and others. True wisdom isn't about being able to see 10 futures. It's about choosing the most virtuous path in the present. And that, right there, is the transformation. Our journey has taken us from seeing these flaws as a curse to understanding them as byproducts of a complex brain, and finally, to realizing they are the raw material for forging a Stoic. Your loneliness is an invitation to self-mastery. Your indecision is an invitation to the dichotomy of control. And the pressure you feel is an invitation to redefine what a successful life truly is. So my challenge to you is simple. In the next 24 hours, pick one of these struggles. And instead of avoiding it, apply one Stoic tool we've discussed. Don't aim for perfection, just aim for practice. And finally, I want to ask you a question. Which of these 8 struggles resonates most with you, and why do you think that is? Share your story in the comments below, because true wisdom is found not just in books, but in the experiences we reflect upon together.